No one expected, from just a casual mini-vlog. This moment actually made many fans shut up for a moment and think. At first it seemed very simple. Two members who are known to have different vibes, Taehyung, who is warm but unpredictable, and Yoongi, who is calm, tends to be calm, suddenly appear together in one small trip. Not to a fancy place, not to the big set, but to a temple, Bomunsa Temple. And that's exactly where everything starts to feel different. Their journey didn't start with anything exciting. No dramatic music, no excessive editing. Just the calm atmosphere, the footsteps, and their expressions that for some reason felt deeper than usual. Taehyung smiles occasionally, but not a performed smile. More to a sincere smile, which kayak again enjoy the moment. While Yoongi remains the Yoongi we know. Easy, but instead of that, there's something that feels more honest. Suddenly, without much of a long explanation, they started talking about the reason they had come there. And at that point, the mood changed. It's no longer just a walking vlog, but it's something more personal. They came to Bomunsa Temple to make a wish. Sounds simple. Everyone can have hope, right? But what makes this moment different is how they do it. No impact was made. It doesn't sound like a script. Everything feels spontaneous, and that's exactly what it is. The unexpected, they don't just make a wish for themselves. They include all members. All. Without exception. And there, many fans began to realize this is not just a wish. It's like a reflection of their relationship so far. Without the need for constant indulgence, without the need for big words. But it feels really good. Taehyung, who is usually playful, this time looks more serious. There was a moment he was silent for a moment before mentioning his hope, as if he really thought about what he wanted to convey. And when it finally came out, it felt simple, but heavy. May 2026 be a great year. The phrase may sound familiar, but if you follow their journey, that sentence has a different meaning. Yoongi didn't say much either, but it was precisely from the way he delivered, from the quiet tone of his voice, that there was an impression that he was really hopeful. Not an empty hope, but something he kept for a long time. What surprised fans wasn't just the content of his expectations, but the fact that they consciously make sure all members participate in it. It's like they don't want anyone left behind. No one wants to feel alone. And that is not something that can be made up. There is a small moment, maybe if you don't pay attention, it could be too much, where Taehyung laughs a little after mentioning that hope. But it's not an ordinary laugh. It's more of a laugh, a mixture of hope and a little worry. Like someone who wants something to happen, but also knows the journey there isn't easy. While Yoongi just nodded slowly. And somehow, that's exactly what makes this moment feel stronger. No big words, no big promises, but enough to make a lot of people feel, oh, they're really one team. Throughout the video, the atmosphere remains calm. It even tends to be quiet. But it is precisely from that silence that many things speak. The way they walk side by side. The way they stop for a moment to look around. The way they are not in a hurry. As if they really want to enjoy the moment. Not for the content, but for themselves. And maybe that's what makes it all feel more real. Fans who were initially watching casually suddenly got carried away. Many said they didn't expect to feel this warm from such a simple video. Some even say it's more pronounced than a big video with expensive production. Because here, what is shown is not idle, but human, who have hope, who have concerns. And that still goes on, together. Towards the end of the video, there is no dramatic ending, no big conclusions. They just continued on their way, as usual. But there it is, there is a sense of being left behind. Curiosity. About 2026. About whether the hope will really come true. And what makes you think the most? Maybe it's not about the big year itself, but about how they still choose to dream together. And just after that moment, there was one little thing that many people barely noticed. They didn't leave right away. Suddenly, Taehyung stopped again. Not because anything matters, but more like he's not really done with the moment yet. He looked around, at the temple building, at the sky, and then was silent. A few seconds that felt long. Yoongi, who usually goes straight, this time also stopped. There is no long dialogue, no explanation, but the mood changed again. Deeper, more quiet. It's like they're processing something that can't be explained in words. What was unexpected, it was precisely in that moment of silence, many fans felt the most hit. Because sometimes, the most honest thing is not what is said, but the felt. Taehyung spoke again. Slow down. Almost like talking to himself. Not too obvious, not too loud, but enough to make people wonder. It was as if there was another hope he had not yet spoken of. And there, curiosity began to appear again. Actually, what was he thinking? Is there something he hasn't said? Yoongi looked up for a moment. Her expression remained calm, but there was one thing that was different, the way she looked at Taehyung. It's not just about seeing. It's about understanding without asking. And it's a relationship that very rarely can be shown for real. They finally walked again. Slow down. Without haste. The camera follows from behind, giving distance, as if to let them have their own space. But precisely from that distance, everything feels closer. What made the fans surprised was not that there was a big event after, but because there was nothing, and that was enough. Enough to convey something that may never have been said directly. Over the years, we've always seen them on stage, with bright light, rumbling sound, and incredible energy. But here, there's none of that. Just two people, with simple hope, and one sentence that keeps ringing. May 2026 be a great year. The more you think about it, it starts to feel heavier. Because big here can mean a lot of things. It could be about a comeback. It could be about being together again. Or something we haven't even imagined yet. And maybe that's the reason they chose not to explain too much. Because some things are stronger when left open. Towards the really end, there is one very brief moment. Almost invisible. Taehyung turned to the camera, then smiled a little. Not a big smile. No smiles for the fans. But that smile feels like a message, as if he wanted to say something without actually saying it. And in that moment, many began to feel, maybe it's not just a vlog. Maybe this is the beginning of something. Or even a small hint of what's to come. But of course, nobody really knows. That's what makes this video so hard to forget. Because after everything is done, after the screen turns dark, what's left is not just a moment in the temple. But one question continues to plague the mind. If they've been hoping for that much for 2026, actually, what are they preparing now? And strangely, the more you think about it, the more it feels like this moment is a subtle code that is deliberately not explained. Some fans began to repeat the video. Once, twice, even many times. Not because there is a big theory that is immediately apparent, but because there is a feeling that something is being missed. Something too subtle to capture in one look. Suddenly, attention turned to the small details. The way Taehyung chose his words. The way Yoongi responded without saying much. Pauses that feel unusual. And the most curious thing, why did they choose Bomunsa Temple? Not a random place. Not the original location chosen. The temple is known as a place for reflection, where people come with a hope that they truly hold in their hearts. And when two people like Taehyung and Yoongi go there, it's hard to believe it's just a coincidence. To the surprise of fans, some began to realize something. It's not the first time they've shown a side like this. But this might be the first time it's been shown this honestly. Without big concepts. Without a clear agenda. It's as if they really want to show one simple thing, that behind all the achievements, all the highlights, all the pressure, they still have the same expectations as before. Hope to stay together. Hope to keep going. And maybe, hope to return to something they once felt at the beginning. Suddenly, one theory began to emerge among, what if 2026 wasn't just another big year? What if it's a turning point? Not just for their careers, but for their direction as a group. And the more you talk about that, the more it makes sense. Because in retrospect, they were never careless in choosing words. Especially Yoongi. If he says something, it's usually not a small thing. And in the video, he doesn't just say yes. He believed it. There was one other moment that began to be discussed. The moment when they walked down the steps of the temple. The camera shakes a little, the wind sounds quiet, and Taehyung suddenly says something that is almost drowned out by the surrounding sounds. Many are initially unaware. But after being clarified, the sentence is like a small piece of an incomplete puzzle.